Okay, let's take a look at one of these problems, and I'm going to use the cost of production report template. Like I mentioned before, I think it'd be a good idea to print these out, do them by hand, and then use that to transfer your answers to Cengage. So I'm going to do an example of a problem that isn't part of your homework, but is similar to your homework. So the following information concerns production in the forging department for November. All direct materials are placed in the process at the beginning of production, and conversion of costs are incurred evenly. I think most of our problems will follow that pattern. The beginning inventory cost of $9,000 consists of direct materials. So I've got 900 units in beginning inventory that are 60% completed. The cost of that was $10,566. This is a general ledger card for the work in process for this department. I started 12,900 into production. I incurred direct labor, factory overhead was applied. And then I've got a question mark here for goods transferred out. Well, I know if I start with 900 units and I add another 12,900 into production and I have 1,400 left, I can back into the fact that I must have transferred 12,400 out. So the key thing I want to figure out now by doing this cost of production report is, what is this credit? What is the cost that's transferred out, and what does that leave me with in ending work in process? So we have everything we need here to be able to do that. So I'll start out by having a proper header like we do on all of our work. So this is the name of the department, the forging department, and it's for the month ended November 30th. Okay. So in the beginning, the first section here, I want to know how many units am I responsible for as a production manager. So I started with 900 units in production. I started another 12,900 into production during the month. So I have 13,800 that I'm responsible for. Now let's use that information to go ahead and calculate the equivalent units of production. So to start off with, I have those 900 units in production. They were 60% done with respect to conversion cost, but they were 100% done with respect to materials, because materials, that goes in first thing, okay? So they had all the materials in them last month. So I didn't have to add any direct materials to them, okay? Now conversion cost, I want to multiply this 900 by 1 minus 60%, because I had to do the other 40% of the work to finish it. Okay, I want to know what I did during this month. So 900 times the 40% I have left to do is 360 equivalent whole units. And this next one is where a lot of students get tripped up on this. So I need to figure out the units that were started and completed. I'll come back to my problem here. We figured out that we transferred out 12,400 units. The first 900 of those 12,400 would have come from my beginning inventory that I finished off. Remember, with FIFO, those are the first one that leaves. So if 12,400 left and the first 900 of them came from beginning work in process, then I must have started and completed the difference, or 11,500. So I have started and completed 11,500. I get full credit for that for direct materials and for conversion costs, because I had to do all the work this month. Now I've got 1,400 units in ending work in process according to the problem, and that was 100% done with respect to materials. So 1,400 times 100% is 1,400. I had completed 70%. Remember, up here I'm worried with what I had to do to finish it. Here I'm worried about what I have into it. So I've got 1,400 units that I had 70% of the work done for conversion costs. That's equivalent to 980 units. So I can add these up now. So 900 plus 11,500 plus 1,400 is 13,800. I want to make sure these two numbers equal each other, okay? If those two numbers equal each other, then I probably did not make a mistake with the 11,500. If they're different, I need to figure out why. For direct materials, I had the equivalent of 12,900 units, and for conversion costs, I had the equivalent of 12,840. So now I can look at the costs that were incurred during the month. Okay, according to my general ledger, I incurred 123,840 of direct material costs, and I can add these two numbers together, direct labor and factory overhead, for how much conversion cost I incurred. That worked out to 38,520. So So I've got total cost of $162,360 that were incurred during the month. So I'm going to compare that to what I did during the month. So I incurred $123,840 of direct materials, and I created 12,900 equivalent units. That came down from here. That works out to $960 per unit. I can tell you with these problems, you're always going to get round numbers. If you get some really weird number, you probably made a mistake. For conversion cost, I incurred $38,520. I divide that by the $12,840 that I completed for conversion costs. I get $3 per unit. That was step 3. So now I look at step 4. How much cost did I incur? Well, I had $10,566 in beginning work in process. That's the balance in my work in process account at the beginning of the month. And I incurred $162,360. That came from right here. So I'm responsible for $172,926 of cost between what I inherited at the beginning of the month and what I incurred during the month. So now I want to allocate that to what was transferred out and what is remaining on our workbenches. So remember, with FIFO, we're going to assume that what was transferred out first came from finishing off that beginning work in process. So beginning work in process, I started out with cost of $10,566, and then I had some cost incurred to complete it. So I had the beginning work in process equivalent units for materials. 0 times 960 is 0. I didn't have to add any material to it. Then I take the equivalent units for conversion costs, 360 times $3, I get 1,080. So I had to do $1,080 worth of work to finish that beginning work in process before it could be transferred. So that's 11,646. Then I have the units that I started and completed during the month, the 11,500. I had to put all the materials into those. 11,500 times 960 is 110,400. 11,500 times $3, that's 34,500 for $144,900. So the beginning work in process, to finish that off, 11,646 plus 144,900. So the 12,400 units that I transferred to the next department had a cost of 156,546. Now I need to come up with my cost for ending work in process. So ending work in process, I had 1,400 units for direct material times 960 for 13,440. I had 980 with respect to conversion cost times $3 for 2,940. I add that, I get 16,380. That will be my ending work in process. I add that together with the cost that was transferred out, and I can see that I've allocated the entire 172,926. So I probably didn't make any mistakes there if those two numbers equal each other. So hopefully that was helpful to you. Please also note that I have a copy of the cost of production report on Canvas that has these letter codes for all of the different boxes. And then on the second page, it shows an explanation of what each of those letters stands for and what the math is. As an example, C equals A plus B, so you can figure that out. This might be helpful if you print this out and have it beside you when you're working through these problems. So I hope you found that helpful. Thank you.